All right, let's jump right in. Today, we're tackling one of those timeless and, let's be honest, often super frustrating questions about attraction. It's a puzzle that has left so many people scratching their heads, and we're going to unpack it with a deep dive into the psychology behind it all.
You've heard this a million times, right? Maybe you've even thought it yourself. This idea that being kind and respectful somehow puts you on the sidelines in favor of someone a little more rebellious. And look, it's a frustrating feeling, for sure, but it comes from a very real place. So let's get to the bottom of it.
So, first things first. To really solve this puzzle, we have to understand the problem from the inside out. We're going to start with what's called the nice guy paradox and really explore the experience that leads so many people to believe that just being nice doesn't actually work.
Wow. I mean, you can really feel the pain in that, can't you? This is someone who feels like they did everything right. They were respectful, they were caring, and they ended up with the conclusion that maybe being less nice is the actual answer. This right here is the heart of the paradox, and it's exactly where our investigation begins.
So where does all that frustration really come from? Well, the analysis we're digging into today suggests it all boils down to a huge misunderstanding of what these labels, bad boy and nice guy, even mean. This isn't really about good versus evil. It's about how we perceive strength versus weakness.
Okay, let's break this down, because the difference in perception is huge. On one side, you've got the bad boy, who's seen as confident, independent, and self-respecting. He's got his own thing going on. But then you look at the nice guy stereotype, and it gets tangled up with things like neediness, low confidence, and being so eager to please that he kinda loses himself. And here is the absolute key. The problem isn't the kindness. It's the perceived weakness that it often gets bundled with.
And that leads us to the central point of this whole thing. The attraction isn't to being a jerk or disrespectful. No way. It's to a whole package of powerful traits: confidence, self-determination, having a backbone. It just so happens that the bad boy type often puts those traits on full display, but they don't own them.
And we have to draw a really bright, clear line in the sand right here. On one side, you have genuinely attractive qualities: confidence, independence, assertiveness. But on the other, you have genuinely toxic behaviors: narcissism, manipulation, cheating. The research is crystal clear on this. Healthy people are not attracted to toxic behavior. Mixing these two up is the fundamental mistake people make.
Okay, so we've defined our terms. We know what we're talking about. But why? Why are these specific traits so magnetic in the first place? To answer that, we've got to go deeper into the psychology, where you find this fascinating mix of our evolutionary wiring and modern-day social dynamics.
So researchers have this term. It's called the dark triad. It's basically a cocktail of three pretty negative personality traits. And yeah, they sound awful because for a long-term relationship, they are awful. But, and this is a big but, studies show that some of the characteristics that come along with them, like dominance and a kind of superficial charm, can actually be pretty attractive, especially in the short term.
Now, let's get evolutionary for a second. Think of it like our brain is still running some really old software from a different time. Back then, things like confidence and dominance were subconscious signals of good genes, a mate who could protect you and provide for you. Even manipulative traits could signal someone who is good at getting resources. Our reptilian brain can still find that stuff appealing, even if our modern, logical brain knows better.
But it's not all caveman stuff, right? Modern social factors play a massive role. You've got the thrill of the chase, wanting someone who's a challenge. You've got the emotional roller coaster. Those intense highs and lows can get confused with real passion. And don't forget pop culture. Movies and TV shows are constantly selling us this romantic idea of the charismatic rebel. And for some people, there's even this desire to fix or save a broken person, which can create this incredibly powerful, though often unhealthy bond.
So it really seems like we're stuck, doesn't it? A choice between the weak, nice guy and the toxic bad boy. But what if that's a false choice? What if there's another way entirely?
And this is where we get to the real breakthrough idea from the research, a third archetype that blows the other two out of the water. This isn't about being nice or bad. It's about combining the absolute best of both worlds into something the author Spencer Greenberg calls the powerful good guy. So what does this new archetype actually look like? Well, the powerful good guy doesn't choose between strength and kindness. He has both. He's got the confidence of the bad boy, but it's quiet and earned, not loud and arrogant. He has real strength, but he uses it to protect and support, not to control or dominate. He's assertive, he's independent, but it all comes from a healthy, positive, and pro-social place.
And here's the best part. This archetype doesn't throw kindness out the window. As this quote points out, the secret sauce is that it adds kindness and support on top of strength and confidence. And this combination, this is what the research suggests creates not just that initial spark, but happy, healthy, and lasting relationships.
Okay, so let's bring it all home. The final takeaway here is about completely reframing the goal, moving past these broken stereotypes, and towards something way more constructive and, frankly, way more effective.
The advice here is incredibly clear and actionable. The goal is not to become the stereotypical nice guy who doesn't respect himself, and it's definitely not to become the toxic bad guy. The real mission, the true goal, is to become this third option, the powerful good guy, the person who can integrate strength with true kindness to build something amazing.
So when you boil it all down, the most powerful takeaway is this. Those magnetic, compelling traits we talked about, confidence, independence, self-respect, they are not owned by one type of person. They can and they should be developed by anyone who wants to be both an attractive person and a good person.
So I'll leave you with this final thought to chew on. Maybe this whole debate just misses the point entirely. Maybe the focus shouldn't be on what type of person is attractive, but on a much more personal question. How can every single one of us work on building these powerful, positive traits within ourselves? Thanks for tuning in.